Hey developers, how's it going? It's RealToughCandy and Selena deciding she wanted to help me do this video today. Thank you for all your thoughts and prayers for Selena. She had a cancerous tumor removed the other day, and now she's out of surgery and she's doing well. She's crabby because she has to wear a cone around her neck so she doesn't gnaw at the suture. But she's here and she's been very loving and affectionate and has been wanting to help me produce videos, do my freelance stuff, work on my other parts of my business. She's really been great. So thank you guys so much for supporting her over the last week or so. Today, I want to talk about a question I got from a subscriber. He wanted to know his odds, or anyone's odds really, of securing a remote job as a junior software developer. Your odds are slim to none. We're going to talk about why that is in just a minute, but let's talk about why you would want a remote job in the first place as a junior. The first one I can think of right away is that you have young children or someone at home that you're taking care of. That person or those people need your attention and you're not able to leave the home. That's a great reason for remote work. Also, traffic. I have an acquaintance who she's an industrial designer. She lives in Lynn, Massachusetts. It's about, I don't know, like 10 or 15 miles outside of Boston. Her commute to work from Lynn to Boston is between an hour and 2 hours to work, and between an hour and 2 hours from work. So she's spending at least 2 hours in traffic every day, sometimes up to 4. Sometimes her workday is 12 hours dedicated to that company, plus gas, plus the toll on your mental and emotional health being stuck in traffic for 4 hours, plus wear and tear to your vehicle. Her company gives her, I think, 1 or 2 days a week of optional work from home benefits. I don't know if that's singular or plural, but whatever. So it is considered a benefit at her place of employment and considered a benefit at a lot of other employers. Maybe you don't do well in traditional workplace environments. I know that's true for a lot of people. I wanted a remote job very badly as a junior when I was learning web development because I just didn't want to deal with the drama at your typical workplace. I didn't want to deal with bring your dogs to work day, which is every day at some employers. I didn't want to have to be assaulted by phone calls and other things that keep me away from working, meetings and all this other stuff. I get so much more work done when I'm alone at home or at a coffee shop or something where I control the environment and I can focus on that work. So that was my main reason. Another reason some people want remote work from home jobs is because they think it's easy. That was my impression too. I thought, well, working from home, I can just sit back, relax, and do my thing. Yeah, I'll be working, but I'll be able to relax, right? Well, as someone who works out of my home, mostly for my business, that's not the case. It's not relaxing. If anything, you are bringing your work into your home, and that stress from work is inside your home. And that's something I learned over the years of freelancing and now running my own small business. So don't think that it's any sort of relaxing perk working from home if that's your main reason, because it really isn't. You are working very hard and those work problems end up in your home. But you can go to like a shared workspace or, coffee shop or whatever. Work from home doesn't mean just from home. So you do have that flexibility. So why aren't employers trusting you as a junior to work from home? Why aren't they offering that as a benefit? Why can't you work remotely as a junior if you have the skills? It's a good question, right? Well, the reason is you're new and you may have those skills, but you don't have the trust factor. You also don't have the work experience. There is a significant difference between having the skills and having the work experience. With the work experience comes knowledge of the process, comes the understanding of how the collaborative process works with software. And that was another thing that I was very naive about. I thought software was just everyone in their own little bubbles pushing their little contributions, and we all go home with smiles on our faces or stay at home with smiles on our faces because we're doing our own thing. In a bubble, no external dialogue, none of this socialization crap. That's not how it works. Enterprise, for-profit, even non-profit, anything that involves a dollar sign and software, you're going to be working with people. Even if it's open source stuff, you're talking to the project maintainer, you're engaging with other contributors. So you don't know and you don't understand those processes as a junior. Even something like Git. Now, the Git version control process, for some people, it's very easy to pick up. You could pick it up in a few days, you might pick it up in a few weeks. But compared to learning a programming language, I think most people would say that it's fairly straightforward. But once you start working with other people and people are pushing things, they're not merging things, and someone made a mistake. Mistakes are happening that you weren't expecting. Mistakes happen. Humanity happens. People's choices impact the project in ways you've never experienced as a junior. And even something as seemingly straightforward as Git commands and version control can really trip your mind up when you're working on an actual real-world project for a company. When you don't know these processes, you are going to lose your company money right out of the gate. As juniors, employers understand you're not the cash cow, okay? People who take chances on juniors are investing in that person's career because they know in 3 to 6 months, sometimes later, that there is going to be a return on that investment. And that is why juniors generally don't hit 6 figures their first year. That's the same case with any professional career field. Right out of the gate, you have to prove yourself. And that is why employers are not taking many chances on remote employees when you don't have experience. To work remotely, you need to know that company's process. And that can't happen just by reading the documentation. That usually, more often than not, 99.99 ad infinitum % of the time, you have to be in person. Hey, what's up, babe? Let me help you down. You want to get down? Let me help you down. There you go. There you go. The vast majority of the time, you have to engage with these people. You have to engage with the process, and you have to witness the dysfunction. Because here's the thing, when you're building projects by yourself, when you're learning this stuff, it's greenfield development. And that means you're starting from scratch, you don't have any technical debt, and you're building this stuff from the ground up to perfection. There isn't 5 years or 10 years of history in these projects that you're building on Udemy, on Educative, on any online platform. When you're building it from scratch, you have zero technical debt as a student. But once you get into these brownfield projects, that is projects that have been built up, they have technical debt, a lot of people, numerous people have worked on them. These become large problems very quickly. And the skills you have are often not able to efficiently dive into these code bases and do what you need to do on your own. And that's the other point I want to address. As a newbie, when you're in person at the office, you're witnessing how these things work, how these things interact, how the social components play a factor in the building of software. When you're there in person, you have someone watching over you. You have someone there where you can ask as many questions as you want, as much as you want, and get away with it. It's the only time in your career when you can do this. Those first 6 months are a golden time for you as an employee of that company and as a software developer in general, because now you can ask as many questions as you want, as basic as they are. You don't have to feel stupid or sheepish for asking questions, because guess what? You're new. So you get a pass. You can ask all of this stuff multiple times. You can tick off coworkers and annoy them by the questions you're asking with zero negative effect on you, or next to zero negative effect on you. And when I say negative effect, I ultimately mean you don't have to worry about getting fired for asking questions. Now, by the time you hit your first year and you're asking first week or first couple months questions, that's going to be an issue. But your first, I would say up to 6 months and even up to a year, the year is the absolute cutoff point in my experience and in my opinion. But you have the benefit of being new. So use that to your advantage when you're at this office and your employer understands that your manager, your tech lead, all eyes are on the FNG, the freaking new guy, right? All eyes are on you and your code and what you're doing, and people are going to correct you. You may feel like crap because it feels like you're not doing anything right, but it is going to make you a better developer, and that cannot happen when you're a remote employee. And your coworkers know that, your tech lead knows that, management knows that, and the movers and shakers of your company know that. And so it really is not, unless you have a very compelling reason for absolutely needing to work at home, working in person is actually a very good thing for your career as a new person, because like I said, you can ask so many questions. You are in learning mode. This is real world stuff and you're getting paid for it, okay? If you can hang on and not leave after that first lunch break, you're gonna do okay. You're gonna be fine. You're going to be fine. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to look foolish, because everyone has to start somewhere. And the quicker you get these questions out of the way, bring a notebook to every meeting, bring a notebook to every place you sit, whether it's an office meeting or just chatting with your senior. They're going to be dropping gems. They're going to be dropping knowledge all the live long day. And you need to be sponging that up, because it is not only going to pay off later down the road, it's going to show your employer that you may be eligible, you may be a great candidate for remote work in 6 months or a year. Eventually, you will have the skills to work remotely if that is something that benefits you and that obviously you want. I mean, they're not going to force you to work remotely. At least I don't think companies would do that. Like, oh, you prefer working in person? Well, stay home. Your most likely scenario is that once you get some industry experience, you may have the benefit of a work from home day or days. Even though we save 4 hours in traffic, even though it gives us all these benefits as an employee and as a person, most employers just prefer that you're there. So that that remote day, or those 2 remote days a week or whatever, those are considered a benefit of that workplace. You know, but there may be exceptions out there. I have put out my feelers for about 3 months now looking for people who were hired as remote employees, as juniors. Haven't been able to find any, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. So if you're out there, let me know. I'd love to hear from you, and I'm sure some other people would too. One of the best things you can do to ensure that you stay working from home is freelance. You set your own hours, you choose your clients, you work in whatever room you want, in whatever configuration you want. You're your own boss and you call the shots. Freelancing, I've talked about it a lot, but it has launched multiple freelance careers. Freelance Newbie, the book, a #1 book on Amazon, and also my top rated course on Udemy, Freelance Newbie. You know, if you absolutely have to stay at home, then you have to stay at home. But if you just prefer being by yourself, there are other places where you can do your work in peace and quiet, and we talk about those too. So check out the book, check out the course. Leave a comment, let me know what you think of this remote thing. Are employers being too stingy with remote work, or is working from home strictly a benefit? I appreciate you guys, each and every one of you. Hope you're doing well, and I'll see you in the next video.